If hard work made people rich, millions of exhausted people would already be wealthy. The warehouse worker waking up at 5 a.m., the delivery driver working weekends, the nurse pulling double shifts, the father working overtime every month just to survive. They are tired. They are disciplined. They work harder than most people ever will, and yet, many stay broke for decades. So what happened? Were they lied to? Because somewhere along the way, we were taught a simple formula. Work hard, stay disciplined, and eventually, success will come. But real life feels different. You work harder, yet bills grow faster. You earn more, yet somehow save less. You become more responsible, yet freedom feels farther away. And that uncomfortable feeling, it is not random. Because poor people usually do not stay poor because they work too little. They stay poor because they are trapped inside a system that rewards something completely different. And most people never realize it until decades have already passed. Imagine two people. One works 12 hours a day. The other owns a small piece of a business, investments, or systems that continue paying them while they sleep. Who becomes wealthier over time? Most people hate the answer, because effort and wealth are not the same thing. You can work incredibly hard and still stay financially fragile. This is the first painful truth. Poor people are trained to sell time. Rich people are trained to own things. One exchanges hours, the other owns systems. And systems scale. Time does not. There are only 24 hours in a day. No matter how disciplined you are, you cannot outwork math forever. At first, working harder feels like progress. Extra shifts, overtime, weekend work, a side hustle. But eventually, exhaustion shows up. And when exhaustion arrives, financial mistakes quietly follow. Most poor people are not lazy. They are overwhelmed. That difference matters. Imagine waking up already stressed. Rent is due. Your credit card payment is late. Groceries suddenly cost more. Gas prices rise again. Unexpected bills arrive exactly when your bank account feels weakest. Your brain changes under pressure. When survival becomes the priority, long-term thinking disappears. Saving feels impossible. Investing feels risky. Planning feels unrealistic. Everything becomes urgent. And urgency destroys strategy. This is what many people never understand about poverty. It is mentally expensive. When every dollar feels emotional, money decisions become emotional too. You buy cheap things that break faster. You delay medical care. You borrow money to survive emergencies. You use debt to buy time. And slowly, life becomes a cycle of financial recovery, not financial growth. The paycheck arrives. You breathe. Then bills remove the oxygen again, month after month, year after year. Without realizing it, survival becomes your normal. Here is another truth nobody likes hearing. Many poor people slowly become consumers before builders. Not because they are irresponsible, because society rewards appearances. You get your first raise. Suddenly, the nicer apartment seems justified. The newer phone feels earned. The expensive car payment starts sounding normal. After all, you deserve it. And maybe you do. But there is a dangerous difference between comfort and financial captivity. Because lifestyle inflation feels invisible. The paycheck increases and spending quietly follows behind it. A slightly nicer lifestyle, slightly bigger bills, slightly more debt. Then one emergency happens, and everything collapses again. That is why some people making $40,000 feel trapped, and others making $120,000 still feel broke. Income alone does not create wealth. Margin creates wealth.
The distance between what you earn and what you keep. This is where things become uncomfortable. Poor people are taught to work for money. Rich people learn how money works. Completely different game. One person asks, how can I earn more? The other asks, how can money continue working without me? One buys liabilities disguised as rewards. The other slowly buys ownership, assets, investments, businesses, skills with leverage, things that grow while time passes. And before someone says, so poor people should just invest? No, that is not the point. The point is understanding the rules, because if you do not understand the rules, hard work turns into a treadmill. You move constantly, but stay in the same place. The terrifying part? Most people never notice. 20 years disappear, 30 years disappear, and suddenly retirement becomes fear instead of freedom. There is another invisible force keeping people stuck: comparison. You buy because others buy, spend because others spend, upgrade because everyone else upgrades. You feel pressure to look successful before becoming stable. A financed car, expensive dinners, clothes you cannot comfortably afford, subscriptions you barely use. A lifestyle silently financed by tomorrow's paycheck. Modern life rewards looking rich, not becoming rich. And social media made this worse. People show vacations, luxury, success. Nobody posts the anxiety, the debt, the sleepless nights, the overdraft notification at midnight. So people copy lifestyles without seeing the cost and quietly remain trapped. So what actually changes things? Not motivation, not hustle quotes, not magical discipline. Perspective. The shift begins when someone stops asking, how do I survive this month? And starts asking, how do I stop repeating this forever? Small changes begin. Learning money, reducing invisible spending, building margin, owning something small, developing higher value skills, saving tiny amounts consistently, thinking longer term. It sounds boring, because wealth usually is. Slow, quiet, unimpressive at first, no dramatic transformation, no overnight success, just repetition, compounding, ownership, and patience. The truth? Most people never become wealthy suddenly. They simply stop leaking energy into systems that keep them poor. Poor people do not stay poor because they work too little. Some of the hardest working people on earth struggle financially. The real tragedy is that effort alone was never the full equation. Because hard work matters, but hard work without ownership often becomes survival. Hard work without systems becomes exhaustion. Hard work without financial understanding becomes repetition. And maybe the question is not, why am I still poor? Maybe the better question is, what game have I been taught to play? Because the moment you understand the rules, everything starts to look different.